Well, hello guys and welcome to the Chem Crown channel. Today I am going to discuss the person composition. But before starting this topic, let me give you an idea and let me give you an example of H2SO4, which is also called the king of acids. Now the formula of H2SO4 or sulfuric acid is equal to 2 hydrogens, 1 sulfur and 4 oxygen, or you can say that this is the formula of the sulfuric acid. Now we know that this sulfuric acid contains hydrogen, sulfur and 4 oxygen. Now if you want to find out the molecular weight of the sulfuric acid, then it will be something like this: 2 for hydrogens, because the atomic mass of the one hydrogen is 1 AMU, so that's why we multiply it by 2, because here we have 2 number of hydrogen atoms. 32 for sulfur, because the atomic mass of the sulfur is 32 AMU. Now the atomic mass of the oxygen is 16, but here we multiply it by 4 and we get 64. And when we add these values, we get 98 grams, which is the molecular weight of the sulfuric acid. Now we know that this 98 grams of the sulfuric acid contains 2 grams of the hydrogen, 32 grams of the sulfur and 64 grams of the oxygen. Okay, now this is a general idea, okay? But what about the situation if we take 100 grams of this compound? Then how much hydrogen, sulfur and oxygen it will contain if we take 100 grams of this compound? Well, this idea is called the person composition, in which you take 100 grams of a sample. In this case, we take 100 grams of the sulfuric acid and we want to find out that how much grams of hydrogen, sulfur and oxygen will contain in this 100 grams of sulfuric acid, and this is called the person composition of each element by mass. So let's explore this idea with the help of this sulfuric acid, and let's find out the person composition of each element. So let me show you the second page of this, or you can say the second slide of this presentation or this class. Now let's find the person composition of each element in the H2SO4. Okay, so I know that the molecular weight of the sulfuric acid is 98 grams. Now if there are 2 grams of hydrogen in the 98 grams, then how much grams of hydrogen will contain in 100 grams of this sample? Or if we take 100 grams of this sample, then how much grams of hydrogen it will contain, which is called the person composition of hydrogen. And you can write it down by this way, which is equal to 2.04%, and it means that if you take 100 grams of this sample, then you will have 2.04 grams of the hydrogen in this 100 grams of the sample. And the same way, if we take 100 grams of this sample, then how much grams of sulfur it will contain, and it is called the person composition of the sulfur, and it can be written down in this way, and it is equal to 32.65%. okay, and the same way the person oxygen can be calculated in the same way. We know that 64 grams of oxygen contains in the 98 grams of the sulfuric acid. Now if we take 100 grams of this sulfuric acid, then how much grams of oxygen it will contain, and this is equal to 65.3%. Now when you add up these three values, this value, this value and this value, when you add these three values, you will get 100%, 99.99% in this case, which is almost equal to 100%. Now you can find the percentage of oxygen by another way. Okay, just try to add these two values and then subtract it from 100%, and you will find the percentage of oxygen by mass. So what we do here to write down the percentage of hydrogen, percentage of sulfur, we add up these two values and then we subtract it from 100%, and we get the percentage of oxygen. So when we add up and then we subtract it from 100%, then we get 65.3% of oxygen, which is almost and exactly equal to this value. Now I hope that you will have a clear idea about this topic, person composition, after discussing this problem. Thank you for watching and see you in the next class.